a couple of words about animated animated TV series, which is Gummi Bears. Gummy Bears. They were presented in television from 1985 on by the Disney Studios. They were not exactly a work of Walt Disney because he has died in the 60s, but it was from the second golden period. That it was from the time when Disney Studios was under command of Michael Eisner, who has revived Disney Studios. And Gummy Bears is one of the most successful productions just after DuckTales, I would say, of that period. And Gummy Bears is totally new invention, whereas, for instance, DuckTales were already planned during the late years of Walt Disney his life. So Gummy Bears is something like a revived, like a second time of success for Walt Disney Studios, and it's still continued, and it still continues to our days. So Gummy Bears is a very universal story about being brave, about being indefatigable, about challenging the people who are stronger than you, but if they are evil, they must be opposed. So what is generally happening there? You have seven gummy bears, so very sympathetic seven small bears who are living in. They are bouncing because they are using a gummy bear juice, and when they are drinking, they are capable of making huge jumps and escape their enemies and make tricks on them and so on. They are living in the tree, in a small cave in a tree, and they well, cave, a small hole in the tree. They are not strictly a family, but they are more like the last of the kind. There are only seven of them. One of them, a poet, is found by the six others in second, I think. Not in the first episode, in the second season, I think so, but they are generally seven of them, and they have very distinct characteristics. For instance, Graffy is very impatient. He's smart but impatient, and the same. For instance, Tammy is stupid but good natured, and he is usually hungry and he's fat. And for instance, Zami is somehow phlegmatic but very wise magician, and he's stuttering. So they have all their own characteristic, their own temper and so on, temperament and so on. So very nice story. The other thing, the other characters is the bad prince Iktorn, who is banned from from the people kingdom, the normal kingdom with people, and he is commanding an army of ogres, and he wants Gummy Bear Jews to conquer the kingdom, and he is pursuing this goal, and he is attacking the Gummy Bears constantly. And there's also one boy from the kingdom, and he is the only one who is aware of the existence of Gummy Bears, as well as Iktorn, the evil one, is. So only these two men really know about Gummy Bears, about their existence. But the most important thing is here for me, more interesting thing is how the opening title song, the opening song, is transformed in different uh, language versions. So The original one is sung in more British than American English, and it's commencing like dashing and daring, courageous and caring, and so on. Something about adventures and so on. The Gummi Bears are loyal. They are brave, and they are cordial to each other, and so on. And this is all highlighted, and they like adventures. The Spanish version is more or less the same. Is nobles, leales, valientes, cordiales, viven momentos de gran emoción. So more or less the same qualities, even slightly more Don Quixotery here is presented, which would be well expected for the Spanish, for the Spaniards. So when it comes to French version, is the only one with big beat, disco style. So it's they donneraient leur dernière chemise, woo, and something like this. So one German commentator on YouTube channel, when this French version is presented under this French version, he commented that die Franzosen müssen immer extra Wurst haben. So that the French has to have some special, their special sausage all the time. So something special, so to say. It's a figure of speaking. So the French have transformed completely the song, and only the French used big beat, and they transformed this song into some more modernistic form, which is only they have done it. When it comes to Italian version, it's also very interesting and striking differences scheme here we can observe, and because the first jingle is not with horns, made not by horns, but with trumpets. Not so they are opening with trumpets. Only the Italians open with trumpets, and the text is totally changed, as if the author of the Italian text knew nothing about the content of the film, of this animated TV series. So this is something like La Principessa, il Castello e il Re. So something about, of course, very beautiful princess, and about the beautiful castello and the beautiful king, and so on. Whereas in real TV series, the role of human and their kingdom is, well, in 1 in 7, presented in 1 in 7 episodes, maybe in 1 in 6 episodes. Man, they are by no means most important thing in this series. All attention is put on, of course, the Gummi Bears and the evil Ictorn and his army of ogres. The humans are not even portrayed in every episode. So besides Ictorn and sometimes the boy from the kingdom, the only two humans who are aware of the existence. So, and the other thing is that, but the Italians, they had to have the beautiful princess, and they would die without beautiful princess. And in their song, there is almost no mention of the bears, which is very incredibile. I mean, okay. So, and of course, the second chorus made in the Italian version is made by the Bambini, of course, and only Italians made something like this in the I don't even remember what they say, because the kids usually sing very well, not good, and but apparently it's cute or something. So, okay, Italian version, totally bizarre. Dutch version is ik hoppel en spartel, vernevel en darter, maar nooit heb ik mij aan de mensen vertoond. So I am jumping, and I am I have never shown myself to the humans, which is not technically not wholly true, because two humans are aware about those gummy bears, but it's I, the individualistic Dutch people, right? So they are. This is very interesting. And men lit klink door de bos. My song is going through the forest and so on. So it's very much me and my and I and so on. Okay, German, maybe first Russian version is the only one when they actually read the title "Приключения медведя Гомми" before they really sang the text, and the text of the Mishki Gummi is very sweet and cute, and the Mishki Gummi are so nice and fluffy, and not really much about the cause and the приключения. It's more about how cute they are. And also the Russians are the only ones who have informed us is who has made this movie. And it's something нам расскажет Disney. Сегодня нам расскажет Disney. The Disney studio, the Disney studios made this movie. So we know who is responsible. It's very interesting. Okay, German version. Mutig und freundlich und zeugsam und etwas und gläubig. Und etwas und etwas. Sie kämpfen auch für dich. Kämpfen, kämpfen, kämpfen. They are brave, and they fight all the time. There's no in German version. It's much more about the kämpfen für Gute, even more than in the Swedish version, which is more. Swedish version is more like Soga berättas igen, and that the old saga is telling us, and they live djupt i skogen. They live deep in the woods, and it's all dusty and misty and mysterious. And this is the Swedish, and they kämpar as kämpar och godheten segrar igen. They fight, and the goodness is winning again. And they snälla aurora helt underbara. Djupt i skogen they live, and they end deeply in the woods, and so on. So it's more mystical. And German version has also this element of fight for das Gute, but no mystic element. It's more fight, fight, fight. It's the most fighting version. But the Germans like to fight. And the Polish version is also like this. It's but it's very typically Polish element added here. About misie harcują po lesie szarżują, and something else about lecz misie zwyciężą, dla wroga to szok. That the bears will win, and this is a shock. This is shocking for the enemy, because the enemy is so much more powerful, as it's usual in Polish history that we tried to fight the stronger opponent, or sometimes we even succeeded, and usually not, but sometimes we did. And it's very Polish, and it's included in this Polish version, only this Polish version. The smallish countries like Hungary, like Czech versions, Slovakian version, they don't have this special characteristic. They're usually copying what the English version is saying. This is also very interesting. Only the bigger, more proud nations, more influential nations changed the thing. So what is here very interesting, that we see here the replication of the stereotypes, national stereotypes and auto stereotypes by the authors of these versions of song, of opening song, and we see that they really perceive their nations to some degree in these terms of this in these frames of these stereotypes, which is interesting because the stereotypes that we usually apply to describe some nations, they come from mostly from late 17th century France, and they are an effect largely to a contact of the French with the Alsatians and the Italians and the Spanish, and the proud Spanish and not very bright but strong and brave Germans. So Alsace, the Alsatians were Germans who came under the French power in the late 17th century, and was very striking differences between the French and the New French from Alsace. And this is where, and most of the national stereotypes we use today come from that period, and the Central European part was also made very swiftly by prepared by the Austrians in Vienna. We have from early 18th century this famous Völkertafeln, the tables of nations, in which the Spaniard is also brave and noble and loyal. The French are cunning and smart. The Germans are like to fight, and they are not maybe not very bright, but they are brave, and so on and so on and so on. And the Italians, the Welschen, they are more liking the luxury elements of life, not very brave maybe, and so on. And also the Viennese Völkertafeln added also some information about the Turks and the Greeks and the Poles and the Hungarians, the nations that were important, maybe not important to the French politically, but important to the Austrians. So we see here we see in all elements of European culture we can see the replication which are made on purpose or maybe just automatically. And here in this case of Gummi Bears song and the versions in various languages, we can see the unconscious replication of those national stereotypes, which is very interesting. And I also strongly, of course, recommend seeing the Gummi Bears if somebody didn't yet, haven't yet seen the TV series.